On August 20th, fighters of the Main Intelligence Directorate of the Ministry of Defense of Ukraine destroyed a Russian boat in the area of Zhelezny Port. An air-launched missile was used. This was reported by the press service of the Main Intelligence Directorate of the Ministry of Defense, and a video of the destruction of the enemy target was released. As a result of the destruction of the Russian boat in the Kherson region, its entire crew was eliminated. There were 5 hijackers on the vessel. A high-precision missile strike on an enemy target in the Black Sea was made possible thanks to laser illumination from a drone. The drone also recorded the successful destruction of a military boat. The armed struggle for Ukraine continues, the HUR wrote. The Main Intelligence Directorate's unmanned systems units are increasingly using attack drones, both to intercept enemy aircraft in the air and to carry out targeted attacks on ground targets. The HUR notes that the systematic work of operators significantly strengthens Ukraine's defense, reducing the enemy's ability to gain tactical advantages on the battlefield. The reconnaissance personnel demonstrate high efficiency in using drones, which successfully destroy enemy equipment and manpower. On the front lines, the fighters create a virtual, drone-free zone for the Russian occupiers, intercepting and eliminating their reconnaissance and attack drones right in the sky. At the same time, the unit's actions are not limited to the front line. Thus, on the night of August 17, Ukrainian military intelligence drones attacked the infrastructure of the Zhelezny railway junction in the Voronezh region of the Russian Federation. As a result of the strike, train traffic was stopped, the station's work was disrupted, and the supply of Russian troops with ammunition and manpower was disrupted.
Ukrainian forces carried out a targeted strike on the Russian command using FPV drones. According to the UA_Reg team unit that carried out the operation, the results were more than successful. On August the 16th, at about 9:30 p.m., a car with military license plates 9828RM was hit on the Rilsk-Komutovka highway in the Kursk region. The car was carrying a high-ranking commander, Lieutenant General Isedula Abachev, deputy commander of the Russian Group of Forces North. The attack left the high-ranking military officer seriously injured. The source claims that the injuries were so severe that Abachev lost both limbs and was effectively unable to continue serving. UA_Reg team published a video of this flawless operation. The footage shows how the drone first pursues the car with Abachev and eventually reaches its target. After that, the Ukrainian FPV delivers a control strike, hitting the already damaged car again. The effectiveness of the Ukrainian UAV forces in this area is hard to overestimate. In addition to the successful attack on Abachev, the drones also hit a number of other targets. Several damaged or completely destroyed Russian military vehicles were recorded on just a section of the route of several dozen meters. Abachev was considered one of the key commanders in the northern direction of the Russian troops and was directly responsible for coordinating the actions of Russian units. His loss was undoubtedly a very painful blow for the Kremlin. Abachev comes from Russia's Dagestan region, whose leader, Sergei Melikov, said on Telegram that he was in a serious but stable condition in one of the best military medical centers in the country. At least a dozen Russian generals have been killed in the war that started with Moscow's full-scale invasion of Ukraine in February 2022. Abachev graduated from the Higher Tank Command School in the Ukrainian city of Kharkiv when Ukraine was still part of the Soviet Union, which collapsed in 1991. He received the Gold Star of the Hero of Russia for his role in combat missions during the current war. Dagestani leader Melikov said he was the pride of the region, describing him as a combat general and a wise commander who always tries to protect his personnel, sometimes neglecting his own safety. A relative of State Duma deputy from the party of Russian ruler Vladimir Putin has died in the war in Ukraine. According to the pro-Kremlin outlet RBC, Alexander Milanov, brother of United Russia Party's deputy Vitaly Milanov, serving in Luhansk Oblast, has been eliminated by Ukrainian troops. As of 2025, over 95% of Luhansk Oblast remains under Russian occupation. Euromaidan press recalls, the region's infrastructure is almost entirely destroyed, with most residential buildings damaged or ruined, and water, electricity, and mobile communications operate intermittently. Russian occupiers forcibly issue passports to locals to maintain strict control over communities. He had volunteered for reconnaissance with the so-called LNR, the Russian-backed entity illegal in Ukraine. Alexander Milanov had been fighting against Ukraine for over a year. During the battles, he was wounded and transferred to medical service, another Russian propaganda outlet, Fontanka, reports. However, it is reported that his injuries caused a sudden deterioration in his health. After being wounded, Milanov was hospitalized, but his condition worsened and he died. His funeral took place on August the 19th at a cemetery in the Pushkin district of St. Petersburg. Recall dozens of wealthy Russians, including members of President Vladimir Putin's inner circle, fled the country in the early days of the full-scale invasion of Ukraine. The independent media outlet Proект reported earlier 49 of the 200 Russian businessmen on Forbes' list of billionaires left Russia in late February and March of 2022, according to Proect's analysis of leaked border crossing data. Some departed even before the invasion, when Putin recognized the independence of the self-proclaimed Donetsk and Luhansk People's Republics on February the 21st. Several of those who left had attended the famous meeting in the Kremlin on the first day of the war, where Putin urged top business executives and heads of state-owned companies to understand what is happening. Nearly one-third of the billionaires who fled, 17 in total, went to the United Arab Emirates. 5 traveled to Switzerland, 5 to Turkey, 4 to France, and 3 to Cyprus. According to the leaked data, some of Putin's closest associates were among the first to leave. Putin's inner circle, or their relatives who go to war in Ukraine, usually don't return alive.